Hello and welcome to Rathod's IS. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 29th August 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. So today's quote which is mainly talking about voting. So if you see in our syllabus in your polity, you will be having this topic of Election Commission of India which comes under your constitutional bodies, and you have to also know about the election process. So here it is better to prepare some quotes regarding these elections also. So here this quote says that bad governments, they are elected by good citizens who don't vote. Yes, if you are talking about the turning out percentage, so it will be like if you are comparing with other countries, India is having good turning out percentage of 69 to 72%. But even though there are about 30% of people they are left. So because of these 30% of people, so we are electing bad governments. So especially if you see in the urban areas, so people, if they are getting holiday on this elections, so they will be spending time in their home, but not they will be coming out of their houses and they are going to this polling booths and they are giving this votes. Okay, so they will be seeing that, so no, today I got holiday, so I have to enjoy my day, and they will be not voting. So here because of this 30% of people who are not voting, so because of this, so we are electing bad governments. So this is a one important quote that you can use whenever you are talking about this people who are not voting. So now let us try to see first topic. So this topic which is mainly talking about one case study regarding Japan. So here we are especially focusing on what is this gender parity. So as you all know that Japan, it is a developed country. So in this developed country also, yes, there are some problems that they are facing regarding this gender parity. And now we are going to see the ranking of this Japan in this global gender gap. And we are going to see some important stats regarding Japan which shows, yes, there is a low participation of women in politics, and women, they are mainly considered as a caregiver, that's it, and they cannot come outside of their houses to work. Okay, so this is a thing that is evident in Japan. So now let us try to understand this case study, and this case study you can use in your ethics and as well as even in your international relations questions. And this topic is exclusively important from your means, and this article says that yes, we can study this Japan as a case study and we can draw some lessons from the Japan such that will be helpful for development of India. Okay, so now let us try to see what is the context. So if you are focusing on the recent data, it says that there is a total lowest birth rate that is seen in this Japan. In 2021, there was just 8,10,000 people or total new births which had occurred in Japan. And Japan also ranked lowest among developed countries in World Economic Forum's index, that is Global Gender Gap Index 2022. So in this global gender gap index also, here Japan rank is lowest. And if you are talking about this gender gap index and as well as this total births in Japan, so there is something which we can link to this gender equality. So how can we relate this total birth rate with this gender equality? Yes, whenever women, they are not allowed to do work after once she is married, means what happened? Yes, there is increasing of freedom for women, right? So because of this, yes, women, they don't want to marry. So whenever they don't want to marry and they are marrying at the late ages, then that will decreases the fertility rate. So this is the thing that we can link here. So that is the thing which is mainly said by author. So we can associate low gender equality with poor developing countries. However, gender inequality emanates from many sources. So what is the important reason for this gender inequality? For example, when there is lack of resources, it is one of the important reason I can say. And this one here is the existing societal norms or gender norms in that so and so country. So these are the two important reasons that are responsible for this gender inequality. And if you're talking about India, so how can we relate with India? So as you all know, we are having a goal of to achieve the status of developed country by 2047. So in this context, we can draw some lessons from Japan, okay, and it is our friend, right, and it is also the world's fourth largest economy, and we can draw some lessons from this Japan and we can implement to become the developed country by 2047. So if you're talking about this Japan especially or particularly, so it is a developed country as we all know, and even though it is a developed country, it is having a low rank in this gender parity. So if we're talking about this in Japan's rank in this global gender gap index, which released by this World Economic Forum. So here Japan's rank is out of 146, its rank is 116. And if you're comparing this rank with this G7 countries, so among this here Japan, which is mainly ranking the lowest. So my first question for you here is, so which are the countries or the members of this G7? So I discussed number of times. So let me know which of the countries they are members of this G7. And if you're talking about what are the reasons behind this low ranking of Japan in this global gender gap index. So first and the foremost thing here is, if you're talking about gender equality, so it is seen in the education attainment. Especially till 15 years, Japanese girls, they score higher than this OECD's average, that is in scientific and as well as mathematical literacy and as well as reading performance. But after once they are crossing this 15 years, yes, gender inequality is persistent. Okay, so till 15 years old, yes, these Japanese girls, they are very much good at scientific and as well as mathematical literacy and as well as reading performance according to this OECD. And if you're talking about health and survival of women, including healthy life expectancy, also stand near perfect score of 0.97. And if you're talking about education, yes, they have good education. And if you're talking about health of this woman, yes, the life expectancy also very high and is meeting the perfect score of 0.97. But if you're talking about overall rank of this Japan's in this global gender gap index, which is very low. So what is the reason? The reason here is women leadership roles and politics is very low. So women, they are not participating in these leadership roles and they are not participating in politics. So this is the first reason. And it ranks below 130 when it comes to women in parliament. So here in India also we are facing this problem of less representation of women in parliament and women reservation bill in this parliament which had not been passed. So it is a one important thing that we can relate with India. And even in Japan also, so women participation in this politics is very less. And even women as senior officials and managers also very less. But if you take the same thing in India, so I think you might know about this coffee day. Okay, so in this coffee day, so CEO, he committed suicide, and after that his wife took charge of that coffee day. So why this CEO of this coffee day committed suicide? Because of 4,000 crores of due. But once her wife, she took office, and finally within this 6 to 7 months of time, yes, she cleared about 50% of the dues. So whenever women, they are taking the lead roles or senior officials or managers, yes, they perform very much good. So this is one of the example that we can see in India. So you can use as a case study also. So women hold a mere 10% of Japan's parliamentary seats. So in Japan, only 10% of parliamentary seats they were occupied by these women, as compared to that of this 2022 April, as compared to around 30% or more in G7 countries. So if we are comparing Japan's position with the other countries in G7, so in G7 countries they are providing 30% of seats for women, but here in Japan just 10%. So even if you are talking about the head of government in this Japan, so there was no woman head or female head of the state since past 50 years. So we can say now there is a very low participation of women in this politics. So even some evidence from this Japan suggests that high per capita income does not guarantee gender equality. So if you compare this per capita income of some of these G7 countries with this Japan, yes, automatically Japan which is having the good high per capita income. So that is nothing but GDP divided by total population. I can say per head how much they are getting. But here, even though it is a developed countries and even though it is a higher per capita income country, but it is not guaranteeing gender equality. So one inference here is gender equality is not based on whether it is a developed country or developing country, or it is not based on the high per capita income country or not, because of this case study. But we can see here gender inequality that persists in our society because of social and as well as culture norms, because of societal norms, because of culture norms that are present in our society. So it is one of the important reason for this gender inequality. So this is the inference from this case study. And if you see this Japanese society is founded on and still conforms to very strong gender norms of what men and women should do. So we're talking about societal norms and culture norms of this Japan. They are very, very strict. And they say, so what are the works can be done by women and as well as men. And if you are talking about two terms here, so that are given in this article. So first term here is carnal. So carnal, it is commonly referring to women. Okay, and they should stay inside the home itself. They should be like caregivers to their children and as well as elderly. And next word or next term here is salaryman. Salaryman means nothing but office worker in Japan, and they are related to men. Okay, an image of this salaryman is that of a family wage earning man, and he works overtime including weekends, and they will get some income, and with that income they can lead their life. So yeah, because of this we can say in this Japanese society it still conforms a very strong gender norms. For example, carnal and as well as salaryman. So because of this gender norms and as well as societal norms, culture norms which are still prevalent in this Japan, that especially made this woman impossible. Okay, this married woman impossible to go out of their home and to do some work. So they have to do especially primary caregiver works. And this one here is most of the women therefore engage in the part-time jobs and also low paying jobs such as secretaries and as well as assistants. And they will be not placed in a like senior manager post or officer's post. So mothers who are returning to this labor market, they receive mommy track. And whenever they are getting these jobs, that is a low paying jobs, so there will be no progression, no promotion that is seen even whenever women they are coming outside and doing some work. So women, they are perceived unsuitable to be leaders, so which reflects low number as company heads. So here there is some perception like, so women, they are not suitable, they are unsuitable, and because of that they will be getting just low paying jobs or part-time jobs, that too with a very low salary, and there will be no progression, no promotions, etc. And Japan has less than 5% of women in middle management and senior management in central government. In government also there is a very less representation of women, and Japanese women, they earn about 57% of what men they are earning. Okay, so this is one of the important reasons for the wide gap of Japan. So if we are talking about what will be the social impact, social economic impact, that is socio-economic impact. So whenever women, they are not entering into our economy, whenever they are not contributing to economy, so what will be the impact? So yes, because of this inequality which persists in this society, so that led to drastic decreasing of marriage rates. So women, they are not coming forward to go for marriage. Because of that, the fertility rate of this Japan is decreasing, and it's also worst when we are comparing with the other developed countries. And the marriage rates in Japan, they have fallen by 50% since 1970. So when you are comparing with that of 1970, now the marriage rates are very much less. It is mainly decreased by 50%. And now at present, here FTFR, that is total fertility rate, here is 1.3 children per woman. And this is the data which is of 2021. And because of this, it created trouble for long stagnant Japanese economy. So because if there is total TFR, so in the future, the demographic dividend will be decreased, and there will be increasing of old age people. So whenever these old age people are increasing, so there will be increasing of burden of pension on government, right? And one more thing we can connect here is, so whenever people they want to stay single means, so overall consumption and investment will be also low. So because of this, that will be also one leading cause for the stagnant economy. Okay, so this is about socio-economic impact, and now let us try to see what is Womenomics and reality in Japan. So actually former prime minister, that is Shinzo Abe, so he was assassinated. So this person, okay, this former prime minister of Japan, that is Shinzo Abe, he laid some emphasis on Womenomics, and he want to come up with some key policy measures as well. So he also come up with one aim to boost women participation or female labor participation, and he want to increase the women participation as leadership roles as well. But this goal was not achieved. Even this Abe's own cabinet struggled to meet this target. And finally that deadline revised to 2030. So in this way here, if you see what are the problems now faced by this Japan, first one here is gender parity. We can see gender inequality, low participation of women, that is low women female labor participation, and we can see there is stagnant economy of Japan, and TFR is decreasing. So there might be increasing of pension burdens on government, and there is increasing of old age population. So there is a threat of decreasing demographic dividend of Japan in future. So because of all these things, yes, there will be having some impact on society, impact on economy of the country, etc. So in this way here, policy makers, they need to be cognizant regarding this gender equality, and we need to come up with a solution how to trap this gender inequality in society. Especially India need to have to take some steps to move forward such that India will be getting the status of developed country by 2047. So this is about this topic in detail. I hope you understand this, right? And you can also connect this topic with the age pyramids in your economic geography part also. So now let us try to see the next topic. It is regarding Lokayuktas and Lokpals. So first of all, let us try to see some basic facts regarding this Lokayuktas and as well as Lokpals. So this article, which is important from your polity point of view, right? So even in your Lakshmikant book, so there is one chapter regarding this Lokayuktas and as well as Lokpals. So please go through this once. And actually I want to say one thing. So this Lokpals and Lokayuktas, they are anti-corruption bodies, and they are not constitutional bodies, but they are statutory bodies. They were established under this the Lokpals and Lokayuktas Act of 2013. Okay, so now let us try to understand this topic, and this topic is related to Kerala. And if you are from Kerala, you have to focus on this topic. So that will be also important from your public service examination also. So now let us try to see what is this Lokayuktas and as well as Lokpals, and why this issue which is seen in the news. So recently Kerala government which proposed some amendments to this Kerala Lokayuktas Act of 1999. So one more thing I want to say here is, so Lokpals, they are present at the central level, and at the state level we have this Lokayuktas. So because of this, Kerala government came up with some proposed amendments to this Kerala Lokayuktas Act of 1999. And they came up through the process called as ordinance. So ordinance means nothing but under Article 123 and Article 213 of Indian Constitution, which talks about ordinance making power of President and as well as Governor whenever houses they are not in session. So why we came up with this process called as ordinance? So if at all any bill that to become an act, so it should be passed in both the houses. For example, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, it have to pass and it need to get the assent. So what if there is no sessions or going on? Whenever there is no houses, whenever there is no session of houses are there. So if there is any act that to be passed, and that bill is very important for the public, means at that time we can go through this process of ordinance. Okay. So here Kerala government proposed to amend this Kerala Lokayuktas Act of 1999 with an ordinance, and this move that led to great criticism from this opposition party. So why this opposition party, they are doing some protest or criticism? Because the process of ordinance which envisages to limit the powers. So this amendment which talks about how to limit the powers of this anti-corruption watchdog, that is Lokayuktas. So now let us focus on what are the proposed changes. So what are the proposed changes? So first one here is Kerala Cabinet has recommended to the governor to promulgate ordinance regarding this amendment of this Kerala Lokayukta Act. And this proposal which mainly said that so government will have powers either to accept or to reject the verdict of Lokayuktas. So whenever this Lokayuktas are giving this any judgment, so here through this amendment it said that so that judgment it can be accepted or it can be rejected. That means it is not binding. So because of this, now onwards, okay, by this ordinance, so this quasi-judicial institution, that is Lokayuktas, they are turning into this toothless advisory bodies. They are not mandatory now, so they are just advisory bodies. So it is no longer be binding by the government. So now let us move on to the basic facts regarding this Lokayuktas and as well as Lokpals. So Lokayuktas and Lokpals, they mainly came up into existence through this Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act of 2013. And this act which provided for the establishment of Lokpal at the central level and Lokayuktas at the state level. And these institutions, they are just statutory bodies. Okay, they are not constitutional bodies. So what is the meaning of statutory bodies? So whenever parliament is coming up with any act, to this act it mainly leads to the establishment of so and so organization, then they will become under the statutory bodies. So constitutional bodies means if any article in our constitution which talks about that will come under our constitutional bodies. And actually these Lokpals and Lokayuktas, they perform the function as an ombudsman and they will be looking into the charges of corruption. And this Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act of 2013 which provides for establishment of Lokpal, okay, it's mainly headed by the chairperson who is or has been of Chief Justice of India, and he might be like a Supreme Court judge as well. So now let us try to see this article. So this article which is mainly talking about militarization of this Taiwan Strait. So to understand this topic, yes, you need to know some background. So what is the background? Recently speaker of this US who visited this Taiwan. So because of this, that led to increasing of this Taiwan-China issues. And because of that visit of speaker of this US to Taiwan, so there is increasing of military drills which done by China in this Taiwan Strait. So because of this, for the first time, India referred Taiwan Strait as militarization. So this is some background. And this topic is important from your GS paper 2 under international relations. So now let us try to understand this topic in detail. So context says that India has for the first time referred to what it called the militarization of this Taiwan Strait. So India called for the first time as militarization of this Taiwan Strait. So what is the meaning of strait? So if you see, there is a water body here and one more water body here, and whenever there is a narrow passage which connects these two water bodies, and this is called as a strait. So this comes under your topic of the day. So strait is nothing but whenever a narrow channel of water body which is connecting the two big water bodies, so this passage is called as a strait. So here it mainly marks a rare instance of New Delhi appearing to comment on Chinese action towards Taiwan. So for the first time we said that this is the militarization of this Taiwan Strait. Okay, so here this is a comment, it is about China's actions towards Taiwan. So we are focusing on some important details. It says that the reference to Taiwan in a statement issued by Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka, so marked more pronounced expression over the situation in this Taiwan Strait than its previous response on August 12 to Chinese military drills. So recently in August, that is in the last week, so there was Chinese spy ship that came to this Hambantota port. So at that time, yes, India mainly focused some concerns regarding security of our country. So whenever this base which is coming here means, so it will be reading like where there are some military related equipment that is present. So it will be spying. So here for the first time, India said that more pronounced expression over the situation of this Taiwan Strait. Okay, so this is about this details. And if you're talking about what are the reasons behind this current China-Taiwan crisis, so there are 4 reasons you have to remember. So first reason here is the top leaders of this Taiwan and China, they show some contradictory stance. So there are some differences that is seen between this China as well as Taiwan. So if we're talking about regarding Taiwan, they say that we are not going to accept China's use of one country two system because it is going to downgrade the Taiwan. Okay, so here Taiwan says we are not going to accept this one country two system of this China policy. And second reason here is Taiwan says that yes, we have democratically elected government and we have great prosperity and we have political rights. So we are strongly opposing reunion with this China. Okay, but here if they are not going for reunion, so it will be leading to a lot of cost for this Taiwans, because here Chinese law from 2015 onwards, it is warning like military action if there is any case of secession. That means if they want to go outside of this one country two policies, so here Chinese military, they can take action according to this 2005. So this is the second important reason. And third one is Taiwan's legal status is a grey area. Despite China's rising global clout, so majority of countries, they don't recognize Taiwan as a separate nation. Only 15 countries they recognize. So this is also one important cause of concern for Taiwan. And next one here is, if you are talking about Taiwan-US closeness, so Taiwan and US, they are coming together. So because of this, it is also deteriorating this Chinese relationship with Taiwan. Okay, so it is a one more important reason. So these are some important reasons behind this China-Taiwan crisis. And if you see this map, so if you go through this map, you can understand where the recent Taiwan-China drills which have happened. Okay, so here because of this US House Speaker, that is Nancy Pelosi, arrival in this Taiwan region on August 2nd. So China announced the plans to hold live fire drills in 6 maritime areas near Taiwan. So this is the one area, this is second area, third area, fourth area, fifth area, sixth area, and so these are 6 areas where there was Chinese drills happened. Okay, and this is the image or map of this Taiwan. And now let us try to see next topic. So this topic, it is mainly talking about Kaziranga Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. Yes, rehabilitation centers are very important, especially if you are going for conservation of any species. So yes, we have to take them to the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. So now let us try to understand this topic in detail, and for this you have to know the location of this Kaziranga Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, and you have to know about this national park, that is Kaziranga National Park, and some other national parks which are located in this Assam region. Okay, so here you can get a map based question, and let me know which river passes through this Kaziranga National Park. Because frequently we can see floods in this Kaziranga National Park, right? So I already discussed number of times, like, so which river which is flowing through this national park, that is the Kaziranga National Park. So let me know in the comment box, and this is your next question, don't forget about this. And now let us try to see the context why it is in news. So the Center for Wildlife Rehabilitation Conservation, that is CWRC, and it is located near this Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve. Actually, this rehabilitation center which completed 20 years. From last 20 years, it is providing some emergency care, treatment and rehabilitation to indigenous wild animals which had been displaced because of various reasons. For example, whenever there is a flood, whenever there is any accident, so whenever they are having any disease, so in that condition, so this Center for Wildlife Rehabilitation Conservation, so it is providing some emergency services from last 20 years. Okay, they are starting providing some emergency care, treatment, rehabilitation, etc. And if you are talking about some details, so it is a joint initiative by this Assam Forest Department and also Wildlife Trust of India and International Fund for Animal Welfare. Okay, so this center which established on August 8th, 2002. Okay, in 2002 in August. So this center which came into existence, and it was a joint initiative of Assam Forest Department and Wildlife Trust of India. So we are talking about what are the outcomes. So after we came up with this rehabilitation center, and it is now 20 years we completed. So what are the outcomes? Whether we had positive outcomes or negative outcomes. So we have to look at on this also. So this rehabilitation center, which continues to be the only facility of its kind in India and has been successfully addressed welfare and as well as conservation of about 357 species. For example, you can talk about elephants, leopards, rhinos, tigers, clouded leopards, black bears and wild buffaloes, hog deers, wild boars and monkeys. So about 357 species of animals they had been conserved. And there are about 7,397 animals. Out of this 4,490, that is about 65%, they could be sent back to the wild after proper care and treatment. So after proper care and treatment, they also sent back to their wild. Okay, so in this way here, so this center which became a model now in the field of wildlife conservation. So now let us have a look over this map. So this map which talks about the national parks which are located in the state of Assam. So here we have Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, here we have Lokayukta Wildlife Sanctuary, and here we have Kaziranga National Park, and here we have Holgapur Gibba Wildlife Sanctuary, and here we have Dibru-Sakhowat National Park. So these are national parks and as well as wildlife sanctuaries which are located in the state of Assam. And if you are from Assam, yes, you have to know about this for sure. And I suggest that you have to go to these places once and have a sight over this. And now let us try to see next topic. So this topic, it is not a new topic. So this topic, it is about linking of Aadhaar with our voter IDs. And this topic is important from our polity point of view, which comes in a GS paper too. So now let us try to see some new points. So already we discussed this topic like 4 or 5 times earlier. So again now we are going to see, and I am going to give you some different points that you can add to your notes. Okay, that we didn't discuss earlier. So this topic is important from your GS paper 2 point of view, which comes under polity. And this topic is important from your mains. And students who are going to write this year mains, yes, for 100% sure there will be question regarding this voter ID linking with your Aadhaar for sure in your GS paper 2. So please be prepared with this topic. And now why it is in news? So recently here, Internet Free Foundation alleged that both level election officers, they threatened to delete the person's name from the electoral roll if he is not linking his Aadhaar with this voter ID. So this is the recent context. So actually there are some rules, that is Election Laws Amendment Act in 2021 which passed by the Parliament, and this act which says that yes, we can link our Aadhaar number with our voter ID. So this will be helpful for resolving of some issues like voter duplication in this electoral rules. So this act which says that it is voluntary, it is not compulsorily. Okay, so this legislation or this law which enables electoral registration officer, and it mainly asks voter for his or her Aadhaar card to establish identity at the time of application for inclusion in the electoral roll. So here Election Commissioner of India, that is EC, I said that it is just voluntary, it is not mandatory. So here you have to remember what is the context, that is recent Internet Freedom Foundation, they said that yes, the both level officers, they threatened to delete a person's name whenever they are not linking their Aadhaar card with their voter ID. And here we have to remember about this 2021 Act, that is the Elections Amendment Act which passed by Parliament. It sought to link Aadhaar number with the voter ID, okay, and it will be helpful to address some issues called as voter duplication, and we can remove this bogus voter IDs, etc. That is commonly seen in this rural areas. So whenever they are moving from one place to another place, yes, they will enroll, okay, in this voter IDs wherever they are going. So why? What is the reasons behind that? So first one here is each polling booth's electoral rolls, they carry normally name. For example, if I have voter ID and if I am going to my polling booth, so there they will be having my name, my details. For example, they will be having my photo, okay, everything. But what happens sometimes, we can see there will be some detail errors. For example, instead of my husband name, so the spelling mistakes in my husband name or my father name, my address, etc. So here, because of this, especially when we are linking our Aadhaar card with our voter ID, so there will be accuracy. So this accuracy would improve this status of our voter IDs, and even that will be helpful to decreases duplication of this voter IDs. And this linking process, that will be also benefit the first time voters by simplifying the process of adding the name to the rolls. So for example, if you are newly applying for this voter ID, so for this also, if you are linking with Aadhaar card, yes, the process will be very simple. So even this verification process of this Aadhaar card, that we can use even in the eShrimp portal, even for getting the PAN card, for getting the passports, etc. So in the same way, we can also use this Aadhaar card for this voter ID as well. So when voters, they move to new addresses, and whenever they are applying for this electoral registration officer for including and as well as deleting of their names, so for this, so Aadhaar card is very important. And linking would also helps to create a robust mechanism, okay, and we can have a common voter list for all elections, for example parliament elections, for example state legislature elections, and even at the local level elections. So this is about the reasons why we need to link our Aadhaar card with your voter ID. So what is the criticism? So this criticism part is very important. So first one here is, so Aadhaar, it is not proof of citizen, but it is just a proof of residence. So whenever we are linking this Aadhaar card with our voter ID, so for non-citizens also we are giving this voter IDs. And second one here is Aadhaar card with electoral roll for verification. It is not a foolproof strategy. Okay, according to Internet Freedom Foundation, so self-reported errors are there in Aadhaar card. So even if you see in Aadhaar card, so many times in my family also, there were number of errors that is seen in this voter IDs. Sorry, in this Aadhaar card. So for example, if you take my son's Aadhaar card, so spelling mistake is there, and even his father name is also spelled incorrect, and even in my mother-in-law's Aadhaar card, so Aadhaar card, in that Aadhaar card, so there was mistakes in address. So in this way here, this Aadhaar card is like a self-reported. So here there might be some errors, right? So here Internet Free Foundation says that, so even not only the voter cards, but even the Aadhaar card which is self-reported, there are a number of errors. And next one here is, during recent assembly elections in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, so whenever there was linking of Aadhaar card with the voter ID, that led to large scale arbitrary deletion of voters. So in this way, we are not going for this universal adult franchise. And this one here is, there is also concern that upon linking these voter IDs to these Aadhaar cards, so agencies, they could also create a level data, and they will be getting this voter profile of that so and so area. So that will be also having some impact on the elections. So it may not lead to the free and fair elections. And there is increased risk of data, because whenever there is a collection of the data which is happening, that will be also having some issue on privacy. So as you all know, with this case Putaswamy judgment of Supreme Court in 2017, it declared that right to privacy is a fundamental right which comes under Article 21 of our Indian Constitution. And one more concern here is, there is no proper data protection law in India. Okay, so this is about this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. This article which is talking about cyber threat. Yes, we are using mobile banking, correct? So if you are using this SBI Bank or ICICI Bank, yes, you will be having apps, right? For example, we are also using some payment gateways. So yes, there is some cyber threat when you are using this mobile banking. So here context says that, according to 2020 Statista survey across 25 states in India, so about 2/3 of respondents, they said that they had smartphone. Yes, there is increased penetration of the smartphones which is seen because of this COVID-19. So in this COVID-19 period, yes, education which went from offline towards online. So there was high demand for the smartphones, and now there is increased smartphone penetration even in these rural areas. So of this, half of them said that they sent and they received money digitally, and about 31% they said that they had mobile apps for banking, and nearly 14% they said that they used their mobile phones for banking related purposes. Yes, Now we are going for digital. So even if you go to any petrol bunks, so they say that go digital, and they will be giving you the scans, codes, etc. Right? So if you are talking about some details, it says that global cyber security firm, that is Kaspersky, warns of an increase in cyber attacks on Android and as well as iOS devices in Asia Pacific region. So in Asia Pacific region, yes, there is increasing of cyber attacks that is seen in this Android and as well as iOS devices. So one mobile banking, that is Trojan, called as Anubis, which is mainly targeting Android users since 2017. Okay, and even there is one more malware, that is roaming Eviantis. So how you can pronounce it, that is Eviantis, which is targeting this mobile banking users. And there is also push from regulators to make payment platforms interoperable at a time when the demand for technical experts is a serious concern in the banking industry. So what happened? Yes, there are some malwares. Yes, we have to make our mobiles, they should be having proper security against this malwares. So now let us try to see next topic. So this topic I collected from this PIB. So this topic it is talking about especially National Cancer Grid. Okay, so this article is important from your science and technology and even from your health point of view, which comes into your GS paper too. So we are talking about why it is in news. So Koita Center for Digital Oncology will set up a Tata Memorial Hospital, and it will promote the use of digital technologies and tools. So they are mainly artificial intelligence based tools, and they are focusing to improve this cancer care across the country. So cancer is one of the important disease, and I can say that what is a cancer? Cancer means nothing but, so the tumors will be formed. So if you are taking any cell, so this cell will undergoes uncontrolled cell division. So because of this, here what happens, there will be the mass of the growth or tumor that will be formed. So if you are talking about the types of tumors, we have two types. First one is benign tumor, second one is malignant tumor. So benign tumor means if this tumor which happened here, occurred here means, so this will be present here only. So we can easily see the where this tumor which is present, that is we can easily localize the area of this tumor. But in case of malignant tumor, so if this tumor which formed here, so this will be moved from one part to the another part, and it is very difficult to identify. So because of this, here we can go for chemotherapy for this disease. Okay, and if you are talking about the types of cancer, especially women, they will be facing cervical cancer, ovarian cancer. In the males, most probably we can say prostate cancer, and not only this, there are blood cancer, breast cancer, and even mouth cancer that is mainly seen, and even lung cancer and throat cancer, which is seen in the people who are consuming this tobacco. So now let us try to see some facts regarding what is this National Cancer Grid. So this National Cancer Grid, which established in 2012 as a Government of India's initiative, which comes under Department of DAE, that is Department of Atomic Energy, and which is like a grant and aid institutions. Okay, so what is the aim? The aim here it is to come up with a network of cancer centers and research institute, patent groups, charitable institutions across India. An important objective of this grid it is to develop uniform standards of patient care. So some important objectives are, first one is we can go for prevention, diagnosis and treatment of cancer. We can go for providing some specialized training and education on this oncology. So oncology it is nothing but talks about this cancer itself, and it is also focusing on come up with some basic translational and clinical research in this cancer. And here there are about 270 hospital network that is seen across India. So what is the significance of this? So significance here is we can move towards digital, and we can adopt this Ayushman Bharat digital mission platform. It is one of the key priority now. And here whenever we are using this artificial intelligence, so this artificial intelligence assistant clinical decision that will support the tools, so that will mainly improve the doctor's ability to provide better care for the people. And even the use of this healthcare data analytics across the hospital, they will be also allow for tracking, that will also allow for benchmarking for clinical outcomes, and will be also having some various treatments and as well as care pathways. So it will also help for the cancer care more accessible for the people. So this is about this topic, and now let us try to see today's prelims practice question. So first question is, match the following schedules of our Indian Constitution. So schedule of Indian Constitution is very important and you have to by heart those. So first schedule, it is about list of name of all states and union territories. Yes, absolutely correct. Second schedule, it is power. It is not at all power, it is about allowances, emoluments for this president, governor, etc. So this second one is incorrect. And third one is fourth schedule, which talks about allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha. Yes. And fifth schedule talks about division of powers between legislative, executive and judiciary. It is talking about division of powers but not judiciary. So there will be union list, state list, and concurrent list. So this is also incorrect. So correct will be 1 and 3 only. And now let us try to see on this vocabulary. So parity means the state or condition of being equal, especially as regards status or pay. Next one is emanate. Emanate means originate from, be produced by. And abysmal means extremely bad. So this is vocabulary. And we came up with this prelims test series of 2023 in our Rathod Science Academy. So here we are providing 30 tests, which includes GSN as well as CSAT. So this will be absolutely beneficial and we are not compromising on the questions. So the quality of questions are like our UPSC standards, and we are covering last 1.5 year current affairs also. So the cost of this course is just 3,000 rupees. So please try to enroll into this course. And now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF as usual. So this is our today's Hindu. The first article, it is about Taiwan Strait militarization. I discussed this topic. And next topic, it is regarding data protection bill likely in budget session. So this topic is also very important. And if you move on to this page number 2, there is nothing much important. In this page number 3, here you can see the snake boat race, that is Nehru Trophy, okay, in Kerala. And in this page also there is nothing much important. Here you can see Kaziranga Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. I discussed this topic. And if you move on to this page number 5, there is nothing much important. And page number 6, there is one article that I discussed about this Japanese case study. And there is one article regarding this 40th Chief Justice of India. So actually it's not much important. If you have time, you can go to this article. And I discussed about this free B topic number of times. So here there is one article regarding this pin code at the rate 50 years. So if you have time, you can go through that once. And I discussed about this Lokayukta's topic. And this text and context, I discussed about this Aadhaar and as well as order ID linkage. And this topic is also very important and you can go to this article. That is Subramaniam Balaji versus Tamil Nadu judgment. Okay, so if you move forward, I discussed about this cyber threat of mobile banking. So here just you can expect a question from here in this area. Okay, so recently, so this Trojan Anubis is seen in news. So what is this? So in this way you can expect question from this area. And here in this page number 10, you can see this article, that is to boost self-reliance, Rajnath released a third indigenization list. So recently our defense minister, he released that second indigenized list. That means, so those are the products that we are going for the manufacturing in India itself. And now we came up with this third list. And this one here is our prime minister, he urges people to join fight against malnourishment. So this malnourishment is one of the important problem that we are facing. So here in this context, you have to refer about this Poshan Abhiyan. And what are the steps taken by the government? And here our finance minister, she gives one statement like financial inclusion will leads to the increasing of growth. And if you move forward, here you can see Modi inaugurates canal in Kutch. So this topic is also important from your infrastructure, which comes under your economy. And here you can see J&J, that is Johnson & Johnson's talc-based powder still on sale. And here you can see like US warship sails to this Taiwan Strait. You have to see the location of this Taiwan Strait. And here you can see NASA moon rocket set for launch today. So after once it is done, so we will be getting articles. So there we are going to discuss this topic. So these are some important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So if you really like this video, please hit the like button and share this video to your friends also. So if you are new to this Rathod Science Academy channel, so subscribe to our channel. Okay, for more videos. So by this I'm concluding. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.